Okay, so my topic is of how not enough help is offered to the homeless, and every year the homeless rate increases due to poverty, due to not enough jobs or the minimum wages are too low, and that's not the only cause, but also a lot of these people who are homeless are mentally ill, or they're runaway even kids, and I grew up watching my grandma volunteer at these homeless shelters, and sometimes she would take me with her, and I would see all of the struggles that these people would go through because they didn't have anyone who was there for them. But they were so grateful every time she would hand them food or help them, give them sheets to sleep in there in the homeless shelters, and they would appreciate it so much. Just simple things, as such as that, and most of the stuff that was offered there was donated by other people, and a lot of it, very few funds were given by the government. And so the foundation always tried getting more funds from the government, but the government really never, they truly never try to help out the homeless because they just set that problem aside like it's not very important. And so today I'll first be talking about the problem. Secondly, I will be talking about the cause, and lastly about the solutions. So one of the biggest problems is that the government doesn't offer enough help for the homeless. Often they set this problem aside like it's not important at all. And often they try to isolate these people into a certain section of the city where just the rest of society forgets about them, that they're even there. And according to a newspaper article in the Florida Nurse published by Louis Gerber, present government policies waste taxpayer money. Homeless individuals cycling through jails, courts, and emergency rooms is outlandishly expensive without being cost effective. So the government, they spend money on getting these people away from the streets and isolating them into other like poor areas instead of using that money to open up more homeless shelters or provide more help, more rehab centers for these people. And also another problem is that a lot of these homeless are kids, are people, young adults like our age, that they run away from home because I guess according to a lot of articles that I read, a lot of them they run away because of they have problems with their families about like their sexual preferences and stuff, and they feel that they're not accepted by not even their family, so they run away. Therefore, they don't have anyone in their lives, and all they can do is live in the streets. And according to the Washington Post, we're rolling out cots for accommodated kids. He says kids are competing with each other for bed space. So in a lot of these shelters, they don't have not even enough beds or space to offer a place to stay for these people. And that's a big problem because then the rest of the homeless they have no choice but to stay out in the streets. So next, I'll be talking about the cause. Many of these homeless are not only there because of addictions, but they're also there because they're people who don't have a job. They just can't get a job, and they have no other choice but to live in the streets. A lot of them are people with mental illnesses who are sent to these mental illnesses, and when they get out, they don't have family, they don't have anywhere to go, so they simply just push them out, and they need help, and they don't have anyone to provide it for them, so they end up in the streets as well. And according to the Huffington Post, the city of Hollywood last year not only planned a panhandling crackdown, it also spent $4.8 million buying a homeless shelter for the express purpose of knocking it down. So a lot of wealthy people form committees to where they raise money, but they raise money to buy these shelters just to knock them down because they feel that it's affecting their community and that the homeless are only bringing the revenue of their businesses and stuff down instead of funding this money to help these people and give them a better life. And also another big problem is people tend to ignore the problem of homeless. A lot of most people, when they see homeless out on the street, they just tend to ignore it because they feel that all these people are only there because they're into drugs, because that's what happens to people who are in drugs. And sometimes we just look the other way instead of trying to see the story behind these people's cause that they're there. One of these solutions is to open up more homeless shelters, and also people often tend to think that like a solution is just to give out money to the homeless, just to give them like a few bucks. But the thing is, that's not a good solution because a lot of these homeless are addicts or have mental illnesses, so a lot of the money they don't end up using it for food and stuff. So it's better to just donate that money to these homeless shelters that can provide actual help for these homeless. So according to a magazine article published in the U.S. News and World Reports, better to donate to one or more of the 5,000 governmental agencies and charitable groups that operate shelters and kitchens for the homeless, such as those of the Partnership for the Homeless in New York and St. Louis Homeless Services Network. Another solution is to try to push the government to provide more funds to provide more of these provide more nurses and rehab centers inside of the homeless shelters for all these people who have mental illnesses or are addicts. And according to a scholarly journal published by Kristen Ferguson, expand housing and permanent housing with supportive services for runaway teens and the mentally ill. A lot of these teens also need psychological help, so therefore it would help them a lot if there were psychologists and nurses and stuff at these rehab centers. And so today I first talked about the problem. Secondly, I talked about the cause, and lastly, I talked about the solutions. And just growing up, seeing what all these people went through and go through every day, and how there's really no one there to help them but these people volunteering at homeless shelters, makes me realize that even just volunteering your time and volunteering just or donating just a couple dollars to these homeless shelters, or even signing petitions to influence the government to give more funds to these places will help these people out a lot. Thank you.